Hello, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, I'm Ron. Recently, I've been looking for some new travel destinations to fly my FPV quads. And in all honesty, it can be quite frustrating and time consuming looking for fresh and interesting, and most importantly, legal places to fly, especially because everything I do gets posted and uploaded to my YouTube channel. So I've got to do everything by the book. The last thing any of us want is the FAA sending us a letter or calling because of some questionable FPV or drone footage. So today I wanted to get real with you guys and discuss how I choose or am choosing my next flight and travel destination, and why I've decided the West Coast, specifically the state of Oregon, is going to be my next travel destination. So stay tuned and we'll jump right into this. And before I get too far into this video, please do me a favor and subscribe if you haven't already, and like and comment below. It's always appreciated. So let's talk about location scouting and things you'll want to consider when choosing flight locations or travel destinations within the United States. And a little about myself very quickly. I've been flying drones for about 4 years now. My first drone was the DJI Spark. And if you go back through my YouTube channel, you can find some of that earliest footage. If you're new to flying drones or FPV quads, then let me quickly go over the legalities of flying here in the US. And I'm going to keep this as simple and straightforward as I can. First and foremost, the FAA, or Federal Aviation Administration, regulates airspace here in the United States. And if you want to fly legally, the first thing you'll need to do is determine if you're flying for recreational purposes or as a certified remote pilot or commercial operator. Simply put, if you're flying as a recreational flyer, then you're flying just for fun. That's the most basic definition that I can offer you. The rule for operating unmanned aircraft, or UAS, under 55 pounds in the National Airspace System is 14 CFR Part 107, referred to as Small UAS Rule. And if you want to fly a drone for purely recreational purposes, there is a limited statutory exception carved out of that same rule, 14 CFR Part 107, that provides a basic set of requirements. So if you're flying as a recreational pilot, you're encouraged to take and pass what's called the TRUST, which stands for the Recreational UAS Safety Test. And I'll leave a link below to that site if you're interested. I have my TRUST in case I ever just want to fly for recreational purposes. However, most of the time I'm flying to create content for my YouTube channel, so because of that, I also have my Part 107 Remote Pilot Certificate. Again, I want to keep this simple, so simply put, if I'm not flying just for fun, then I'm flying as a certified remote pilot or a commercial operator, which requires me to have passed the Remote Pilot Certificate to fly legally here in the United States. And just to clarify the difference between these two types of drone flights, I'm going to put up two quick screenshots here, and you can see what's needed for each of them. And you can pause this video and come back to this later if you need to, but I'll leave the links below to this information also. Again, I'm flying mostly as a certified remote pilot, so I also have to register all my drones less than 55 pounds with the FAA, and I do that by logging into this site. It's FAA Drone Zone. Okay, so those are the basics before I've even gotten off the ground. Now I have to decide where I want to fly and where it's legal to fly, because I'm going to post these videos to my YouTube channel. So one of the first things I'm going to have to consider is, do I want to shoot domestically here in the US, or do I want to travel outside the US for more interesting content and unique type of footage? Which brings us to COVID. Well, with COVID, international travel is still its own set of hurdles, let's be honest. Bottom line, it's not easy to plan international flights and trips right now. And if things don't go as expected and you test positive for your return flight back to the US, that could be a whole new set of headaches. So being I'm not willing to risk losing a ton of money on travel right now, I've decided to stay domestic, at least for now. Just too many unknowns right now, and getting stuck in a foreign country for an extra, let's say 2 weeks, doesn't quite fit into my budget. So I've researched a bunch of locations throughout the US, and most of the scenic spots I've looked at are, let's say, restricted or off limits for drone flights. One of the states I was looking at was actually Arizona, specifically Sedona, Arizona. But the more I researched that state, the more I realized most of the more scenic spots are restricted because they're within state parks, and in Arizona, state parks don't allow drone flights. Actually, most states don't allow drones in their state parks. So after a bit more research, I finally landed on the state of Oregon. I've been to Oregon before, but never to the Oregon coastline, which is absolutely stunning if you've never seen it. So if you're looking for a beautiful place to travel and get great drone footage, you may want to put Oregon on your list. If you go to Oregon State Park website, here's what it reads regarding drones. In short, Oregon has some common sense rules for flying your drone, but does not have any specific rules preventing people from flying in their parks. Long story short, Oregon's going on my list of places to travel in 2021, and the wife and I are actually going to head there in November. And it's worth noting that I did take a few additional steps in verifying and researching places to fly in the state of Oregon. Now, besides an obvious Google search for specific locations, I also logged into Before You Fly to see about any restrictions or areas that were considered to be controlled airspace. I also actually took one step further and reached out to local and state authorities in Oregon as well. This includes a friendly conversation with Oregon State Police, and the officer I spoke with was actually very nice and answered all the questions I had. Long story short, Oregon's going on my list of places to visit in the next month, and I'll be sharing those videos with you guys as soon as I return from those trips. I made this video just to emphasize there is no one-stop shop to get all of your information. Most times you need to do your homework and research any new location you're planning on flying. Additionally, FAA rules here in the US are still being rolled out. You have things like remote pilot ID going into effect at various phases of deployment. And not to get off topic here, but remote ID became effective already on April 21st, 2021. However, consumers like you and I won't be directly impacted until September 16th of 2023, which is the date that commercial and recreational UAS drone pilots must meet one of 3 ways to comply with the rule when they fly their quads. So manufacturers and producers are impacted sooner, with their compliance dates being a year earlier, September 16th, 2022. So to sum things up, I put this video together just to share some of my thoughts and experience with flying drones, and again, share with you some of the backstory and planning that goes into flying drones legally here in the US. I've got a ton of great ideas, but can't always execute on them because of legal restrictions. I'm just hoping this video might give some of you some insight into things even I consider when flying my drones. Obviously, this means I'm not only checking for restricted airspace, but also checking with state, county, and local authorities on any specific drone laws in a given area I want to fly. When I travel and fly, I just don't want any surprises. So I do my best to know the laws in any given area before I even think about traveling. So hopefully this was helpful to one or a few of you, but I did want to share with you my process for searching for new and interesting locations to fly. And be real with you guys and showing you there is actually quite a bit of research that goes into location scouting and travel for my YouTube videos. So until next time, be safe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.